So for today, I want to derive the two thermodynamical identities for internal energy and enthalpy. And then later we will talk about the other two. So let's start with energy. So number one, internal energy. So I know that du equals TdS minus PdV plus mu dN. This is what I am told from my table I need to look for. Let me call this the fish equation. So that's my fish equation right here. Okay. Now, how do I derive this? Okay. Now, in order to derive this expression that connects the internal energies to the properties of the system, so, namely T, P, and mu, we must consider a process in which we change the energy, the volume, and the number of particles in the system by small amounts, and then ask, by how much will the entropy of the system change under these conditions? So, in order to do that, I must divide my system into 3 steps. So, my total delta S must be divided into delta S1 plus delta S2 plus delta S3, where during step 1, energy is kept constant. That means delta U equals 0. During step 2, my volume is kept constant. Delta V equals 0. And during step 3, my number of particles is kept constant. That means delta N equals 0. So that means that my total change in entropy is just delta S1 plus delta S2 plus delta S3. Now, may I take this expression, I'm going to call this equation A, and rewrite this as partial derivatives. So I'm going to rewrite this expression as ds equal ds1 plus ds2 plus ds3. Now, in this expression, may I multiply and divide by what is happening in step 1, step 2, and step 3. So in step 1, and step 2, and step 3. Now, since this S depends on U, V, and N, may I convert the full derivatives into partial derivatives and in fact rewrite this as partial S over partial U in step number 1, du, plus partial S over partial V in step 2, dV, plus partial S over partial N over step 3, dN. Now, technically, I should be writing U1, V1, and U1, V2, and N3. But I know that these changes are only occurring in these particular steps, so I'm going to drop these subscripts. Now, what do we know from equations 1a, 1b, and 1c? So I'm going to go back. Look at my expression 1a, 1b, and 1c. So partial s over partial u is 1 over t, partial s over partial v is p over t, and partial s over partial n is minus mu over t. Minus mu over t. So may I rewrite all of those values in here? So this one is from 1a, this is from 1b, and this is from 1c. So I can in fact write this as 1 over t du plus p over t dv plus minus mu over t dn equals the total change in entropy. Or I can write this as TdS equals du plus pdv minus mu dn. And since I was looking for my internal energy to my fish equation, I can move these over and rewrite this as TdS minus pdv plus mu dn, which is what I was looking for. And that indeed is my, yay, fish equation.